Hi, I'm Jan Mirchandani with Marketing Cafe, and welcome to the second session of our Summer Lunchbox series of online marketing webinars. Today I want to take a look at Google Analytics. Google Analytics is a free but very powerful tool that's going to help you assess how your website is doing for your business. We're going to take a look at some of the metrics that Google Analytics provides us with so that we can continue to improve what we're doing for our business. I'm going to teach you how to embrace that inner data geek that I know you have so that you can use these metrics to help grow your business. So let's get started. Have you ever heard this quote from John Wanamaker? "I know half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is, I don't know which half." You may very well feel the same way even if you haven't heard the quote. Our goal today is to learn how to assess what is working and what's not working. We want to learn what half of our advertising money, what half of our marketing money we're wasting so that we stop wasting our time and our money. Google Analytics is going to help us do that. The problem with Google Analytics is that it actually provides so much data, it's often difficult to understand what we can do with it. We want to get past that paralysis by analysis and find actionable data. So that's what we're going to learn how to do. So what if you're a complete newbie to Google Analytics? Where do you start? I don't want to take up a lot of time going over the basic vanilla reports that Google Analytics provides us with. Remember, we're mining for gems here, but if you're just getting started, you start, well, at the very beginning. So there's 4 basic metrics that you want to focus on when you're just getting introduced to Google Analytics. You want to look at your visitors, who's coming to your website. You want to look at traffic sources, who's sending traffic to your website. You want to look at keywords. If people are doing a Google search and they find you, what terms are they using? You want to look at your content. When people finally arrive at your website, what are they reading? What are they clicking on? Those are the 4 basic metrics that you want to focus on, and those reports are all set up for you. You can click on any of them right there along the left-hand side of your dashboard to get that information. Here's another quote for you might be familiar with. Mark Twain's "Lies, damn lies, and statistics." So as we start to look at these statistics that Google Analytics provides us with, we want to make sure we don't fall into the trap of jumping to conclusions. Here's an example. If we take a look at our pages per visit over time versus our general traffic over time, for the most part, these 2 lines are going to run fairly parallel, meaning people generally consume the same amount of content over time on any given day. But occasionally we'll see these peaks where there's a lot of content that's consumed per visit on those particular days. One could assume that there was some really great content added to the website on those days. One might be wrong. So we want to drill down into that information and take a look at what happened. Let's see. We can see if we look very closely at this one particular day where we did have a high page per visit average, that it wasn't really that people were consuming more data. There was a person who consumed more information on our website. One individual clicked through to what seems like almost all of the pages on the website, whereas the rest of the traffic for that day was much more typical, where a few people looked at 1 page or 2 pages, and then a few people looked at a few more pages, but that one person who looked at a lot of pages really skewed our data. So let's not jump to conclusions and make sure that we're drilling down to get to the information that's behind the data. So even if you never went any further than those generic plain vanilla reports that Google provides you with, you're still way ahead of the game. There's a lot of useful information buried in there. You can see whether you're getting traffic from your social media channels so that you can focus your effort in those channels that are providing the most return for your time and your money investment. You can see whether visitors are reading the articles that you slave over to add to your website. You can see where in the world literally your traffic is coming from so that you can determine whether or not you're targeting the right geographic areas and whether you're getting traffic from the right areas. But that hasn't even scratched the surface of what Google can do. There's so much more in terms of tracking specific goals, but you have to know what those goals are. So think through what success looks like for you. What do you want to have happen on your website? Maybe you're selling online and you want to make more sales. Maybe you want to establish your brand awareness and you want to increase your brand awareness. Maybe you want to establish your industry expertise and up your profile. All great goals for your website. But you need to define how you're going to measure success for those goals. Again, sales, easy peasy. The more sales, the more successful. But if you are doing something like trying to increase your brand awareness, how do you measure that? You need to establish what you call conversions so that you can measure whether or not you're actually successful in your endeavors. So that might be having your visitors fill out a form, clicking submit, and landing on a thank you page. It might be having your visitors download a white paper or having them listen to a webinar. You can track all of those things through Google Analytics. Let's take a look. This is where it starts to get cool. Now that you've defined success, you can measure relative success. Google's going to let you set up 4 different kinds of goals. The first is a URL destination, and that's going to track whether or not your visitors are getting through to a page that you're trying to funnel them through to. That's particularly useful, like we were saying before, with a form where you want them to fill out the form, click submit, and then land on a particular thank you page that you've set up. 2 very similar types of goals are you can set up a visit duration and a pages per visit goal. Those 2 goals basically are trying to assess whether or not you are successful in encouraging visitors to delve deeper into your website, and getting them to stay longer means they're reading more content. If they're clicking on more pages per visit, it means they're getting into more of the pages where you're providing information about your business and your services. The 4th kind is a really cool one where you can set up an event where you can track whether people are clicking on perhaps a podcast that you've set up, or whether they're downloading a white paper that you've provided, so that it's something that it's not a particular page, it's a behavior on that page that you can track whether your visitors are actually engaging in that behavior. Now you're getting to some really actionable information. You're starting to measure that success, and if you're not meeting those goals, and if your goals aren't converting, then you simply adjust, measure, and try it again. If you are successful, you do the same thing. You're going to adjust, measure, and see what's working relative to your original campaign. So you're continually refining your efforts and improving what you're doing. So let's go back to those plain vanilla reports that we were talking about earlier. Not good enough. Now that we're really comfortable tooling around in Google Analytics, we want to start with those plain vanilla, but dress them up. We want to look at relative performance. How does one campaign or one page compare against another? By clicking on these icons, we can see whether one is really outperforming or underperforming against other campaigns and relative to the rest of our website. This is going to allow you to see trends as they happen, and again, you're going to adjust and measure again, so you're continuing to refine your efforts. And of course, there's no school like the old school. We're not going to forget about offline and traditional marketing. You can use Google Analytics to track even your traditional marketing campaigns. Think of a postcard that you're going to send out to a business association that you belong to. By creating a custom URL that goes out only on that postcard, you can track click-throughs to your website by measuring how many clicks you're getting on that particular page. Because nobody else has that URL, any responses that you're getting on that page, by definition, is coming through from that postcard. You can add another layer to that by sending out 2 versions of the postcard. Say, for example, you want to send out 2 different versions of the postcard with different stock images on them, or different color schemes on them. You create 2 different versions of that URL, and you do the same thing, and you can track relative success of each version of that postcard. Let's wrap it all up. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you have Google Analytics already installed on your website. Even if you're not going to use the information right away, when you are ready, at least you'll have some history to look at and you'll have some information that you can analyze. When you are ready, start by looking at 4 key metrics: your visitors, your traffic sources, keywords, and content. Once you're comfortable tooling around, now you can start to set up some goals for yourself. Then you're going to analyze, adjust, and repeat. I hope you found this information helpful, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call at 914-806-7720 or visit our website at westchestermarketingcafe.com and drop us a line.